Fiona Fitzpatrick is a dynamic entrepreneur insurance consultant and business coach with over 16 years in the insurance industry. As the winner of the Insurance Apprentice 2021, she's known for her bold decisions and passion for innovation, having successfully owned multiple businesses. Fiona focuses on leadership, resilience, and empowering women in business through her networking events. Outside of work, she enjoys new ventures, time with her family and dogs, and you may find her swimming in the cold water of Bloubergstrand. Fiona Fitzpatrick, diving into the unknown.
At 11 years old, I wasn't your average kid. Whilst my friends were doing normal 11-year-old things, I was strapping a cylinder onto my back and diving into shark-infested waters. When I think back on those times, I'm often reminded of how my dad loved diving with me. Not because I would say that he's some adventurer, but more underwater, I couldn't talk or spend his money. Diving taught me about risk management in the most visceral way possible. 20 meters underwater, every decision counts. One wrong move or one delayed reaction can be the difference between surfacing safely or not at all. There's something about breathing underwater that makes you second guess every life decision you've ever made. But down there, you don't have the luxury or the time to overthink. You have to assess, decide, and act swiftly. It's the ultimate lesson in trust. Trust your training, trust your equipment, but most importantly, trust yourself. At that age, I was already aware that I was a little bit different. None of my friends were considering diving as a hobby, but it really did not matter. I was in my element, even if that element wasn't air. Diving taught me that sometimes, even when you're unsure, you just have to take the plunge. Successfully, a couple of years later, I hadn't been eaten by sharks, and I found myself sat in a school assembly hall. This decision will affect the rest of your life. Those words were spoken by my school principal, who sounded like a judge delivering a life sentence. She addressed a room filled with wide-eyed grade 9 students and their equally anxious parents about the importance of which subjects they chose to carry through to matric. The decision was painted as some pivotal, life-changing moment that our entire existence hinged on whether we chose science or biology. I didn't know what I wanted to be, but I knew that I was different. So different, in fact, that one of my teachers had written very fondly in a school report one year that I had a distinctly average attitude towards conformity. I looked around the assembly hall that evening with admiration for those who knew what they wanted to be. Doctors, accountants, hairdressers, even housewives. They knew their paths. They knew what subjects to choose. On the other hand, I was floating somewhere between becoming a nun, a diving instructor, maybe a rock star. And looking back on it now, it's so clear to see the amount of pressure we put on ourselves and the amount of pressure that others put on us to make the right decision, even when we're too young or too inexperienced to know what that means. Fast forward a couple of years, the same willingness to dive into shark-infested waters, combined with a distinctly average attitude towards conformity, led me down a road less traveled. That of becoming an entrepreneur. Ordinary, salaried individuals would ask me, why take those risks? And isn't it safer to stay on the surface? Here's the thing. For me, it's never been about playing it safe. It's not even about creating something new. It's about spotting opportunities that others may overlook and saying, yeah, this could work, let's do it. And at times, it may feel like you're swimming against a strong current and there's no land in sight. But that is where the magic lies, in the unknown. That's where you get to innovate, disrupt, and leave your mark. You won't get it right 100% of the time. I surely didn't. Like in one of my earlier business ventures where I partnered with somebody that I later realized was a bad fit for me and my business. And let me tell you, breaking up a business partnership, much like unweaving a tapestry, one that's entwined with your reputation, your clients, your industry standing, each step of every process was incredibly overwhelming, and I felt very unsure. But looking back on it now, it's often the bravest thing to do is to let go and trust the next step, no matter how uncertain you feel. Any of my business ventures that I've been involved in and that I will be involved in the future have nothing to do with fulfilling market gaps. They're about fulfilling my own sense of purpose, to be a creator, an early adopter, and someone that is willing to dive into the unknown. Truth be told, if I had to wait until I was sure, I would still be standing on the shoreline watching the waves. The world doesn't need more spectators. It needs more divers, people that are willing to dive in, uncertainty and all. I've been very privileged in my career to train people at various levels, and the one thing that everybody is the most afraid of is making the wrong decision. What if I make a mistake, they ask? Well, the answer to that is simple. You fix it. There may even be repercussions to deal with down the line, but if you had a reason to make that decision, you need to start learning to trust it. And down the line, if it was the wrong thing to do, that's when you learn from it. So tonight, I'd love to leave you with just one thing. It's okay to be uncertain. In fact, it's only human. Life is a series of decisions, many of which will take us down paths we never imagined. And more often than not, those paths are winding and uncertain. But it's not the certainty that shapes us. It's our willingness to make decisions when certainty is nowhere in sight. So go forth and make your decisions with conviction. It will be okay in the end. And if it's not yet okay, it's not the end. My name is Fiona Fitzpatrick, and I am unsure. But I make decisions. I trust myself. I trust those around me. And I often find myself diving into the unknown.